the threat. They quickly worked the school to try to find that threat, and as soon as they found the individual down, they realized what the situation was. Anastasia.
Sheriff, will your folks or CBI or the FBI be searching the home of the shooter, looking for any notes or evidence that this might have been seen coming?
We will. The question was if we'll search the home of the shooter. We will conduct a thorough and complete investigation. We will take our time to ensure that it's done right. We will not do it quick. Part of our protocol will be a thorough investigation, which includes a search of the suspect's home, a search of areas where the suspect may have had access to other weapons or material that would have motivated him to do this tragic act, and we will search portions of the school that he would have had individual and immediate access to.
Sheriff, at this point, is there any indication that this is tied to the anniversary of Sandy Hook?
Absolutely no indication at all that this would be tied to Sandy Hook. Certainly something that we will look into. Always an issue that we have to focus our attentions on.
Sheriff, is there a vehicle being searched in the parking lot that he drove here?
If he brought a vehicle to this school, it will be searched. And it will be rendered safe first, and then it will be searched.
How many shots fired, and where did the shooting take place?
The shooting happened in the immediate west portion entry of the school. I don't know how many shots were fired. Part of what our investigators will be trying to conclude.
And did the suspect actually have a class with this particular teacher? Did they know each other?
They clearly had a relationship. The degree and level of that relationship is yet to be determined, something that we will talk about in days, not hours to come.
Can you identify the teacher?
I will not.
How about, will there be,
I don't have any information.
this may be more for the school superintendent, but will there be school, how long before classes resume?
I certainly would leave that to the school board and to the superintendent, and I'm sure that's an issue that they will discuss in the hours to come, and we'll make a decision. Folks, I will take about 3 more questions, please.
Sheriff, you said...
Yes, sir.
Earlier you said that there were no accomplices in your last news conference. Has there been any accomplices or collaborators identified? And the second question, part of it is, there was no threats made to this school prior, not by this man, but by another person that you will also perhaps investigate?
First off, the question was if there were other threats. We don't know yet. No threats that we are aware of to this school or to this teacher, but that's part of what we are trying to investigate. At my 1:45 briefing, I told you that it appeared to us that there were no other co-conspirators or collaborators. It continues to appear to us that the shooter that is deceased was the lone actor in this tragic event, but we will continue to try to confirm that and ensure that we have that information accurately taken care of. Marshall?
Sheriff, you said that he's talking with his family and colleagues. What did you mean by colleagues?
Well, certainly other students, friends, family members, anyone who may have been associated with this individual that he may have indicated days or weeks or months ago that this was something that was on his mind. We will do a thorough and complete investigation, and that includes dealing with anyone who may have been associated with our shooter over the last several months or weeks. Yes, sir.
And Sheriff, as far as people who live around here, any idea how long everything's going to be shut down? They need to find a new route?
I think that's a great question. We will keep this intersection and this immediate area shut down for the remainder of the night. I can't imagine we will open this area until shortly after 10 p.m. tonight. So folks that are traveling need to make appropriate arrangements.
Are the other
the fact that we are keeping it closed down is a product of the resources we currently have in the immediate area, and the fact that we have an investigation that will require our public safety professionals to move back and forth safely. We will keep this closed for a period of time.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, I just heard today is your last day. Are you retiring?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm so sorry then.
It is not my last day. I simply announced yesterday my retirement, but that's not relevant to our situation.
Has everyone been evacuated, Sheriff?
It has.
Was there anyone injured in the evacuation?
No.
Thank you.
Are the other schools off lockdown?
We have no other schools on lockdown. We initially thought about it, but immediately realized that this situation was isolated specifically to Arapahoe High School. With that, folks, I thank you for your time. We will put out another media release, but it will be my intention that we are currently at 3:15, pushing 3:20 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will give another media brief at 6 p.m., and I don't know the location, but I can guarantee you it will not be in this intersection. Thank you all very much.
So there you have it from the Sheriff Grayson Robinson, Arapahoe County, out there in Colorado, where there was a shooting at this high school, Arapahoe High School, today. The shooter, the suspect, in this particular case, according to the sheriff, shot himself. Unfortunately, though, one student is in serious condition right now. A woman, a young girl, was shot. Another one in very minor condition, a minor wound sustained in this shooting at this high school. These are pictures from earlier when the students were asked to leave the high school with their hands up. They didn't know if there were any others involved, and the sheriff now saying once again does not believe others were involved. Joe Johns was listening and watching. For our viewers, Joe, who are just tuning into the Situation Room right now, want to get an update on what was going on. Update us on what we know.
There was a lot of new information in that news conference, and kudos to the sheriff for putting it out there. What we now know is this shooter goes to the school. He goes to the west side of the building near a student parking lot, 3 entrances back there, and he asks for a teacher by name and where that teacher's location is. He's carrying a shotgun. Then he apparently walks into the building. Somehow the teacher he's looking for is alerted to the fact that the shooter's coming for him. The teacher exits the building, and authorities are giving him credit for that tonight, because the whole idea was to get outside the building so that the shooter would get outside of the building so that all the students would be safe. The shooter apparently goes further inside the building and shoots a student, and sometime thereafter actually turns the gun on himself. Apparently the shot he took, authorities think, was self-inflicted. Now, a couple pieces of information that we hadn't been able to confirm until just now. Some type of incendiary device is believed to be inside that school. The sheriff said possibly a Molotov cocktail. So that's one of the things they have to deal with. There's also a lot of concern about what might be in this young student, presumably a male's locker. So they have to check that. There's also talk of going to the house, perhaps even a search warrant to see what might be at his home. And another question is whether he might have driven an automobile to the school. So if he did, they'll want to check that out as well. Otherwise, this is pretty much wrapped up there, but a very, very scary day at Arapahoe High School, Wolf.
The student, apparently the suspect was a high school student at that high school, walked in pretty easily with a shotgun, the sheriff said, right?
That's absolutely right. He walked in with a shotgun, and there are a lot of questions about what kind of a shotgun it was. Also, one of the questions that I have as a journalist, of course, is whether it was a sawed-off shotgun, because he apparently turned that weapon on himself. And you know, the long stock of a shotgun, it's very difficult to turn a shotgun on yourself unless it's sawed off. So, but that's one question. I would say, Wolf, the most important and key question here that we all want to know is about the motivation. What was the beef between this young student and the teacher he came to that school to find with the gun? So many questions, of course, that the authorities will be asking for days about what was the relationship between the student and the teacher he came looking for, Wolf.
I'm sure we'll be getting many of those answers fairly soon. It's relatively cohesive community there, and I know the investigation is only just beginning. Joe, stand by. Summer Scribeck is joining us on the phone right now, a senior at the high school. Summer, are you okay?
I'm really shaken up. I still feel sick. I don't think my hands have stood still for the past, 3 hours.
Well, you're 17 years old. Are you a junior or a senior in the high school?
Sadly, I'm a senior, and this is the memory that I get to take away from my high school experience.
Tell us what happened, if you don't mind, Summer, and if it's too painful, I'll leave you alone. But if you want to walk us through what happened, where were you when you first heard that there was a shooter in the school?
I was in about 2 hallways down by the library from the west wing. The shots sounded like they were right outside the classroom. And I at first thought it was a chair, like, banging against the ground, but then 3 more shots were fired, and my teacher immediately got up, did the lockdown drill. The lights were off, and we were in the corner within 30 seconds, and I think that probably saved us.
And I just want to point out, your parents have authorized this interview with us, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure that we're not doing anything that would be inappropriate. All right, so you must have been scared. Do you have any idea what was did you have any idea what was going on at that point?
All I could think was, I can't believe this is happening. Like, we've all heard about Columbine. We're all well aware of it. We're well aware of Sandy Hook. I just said, not here. This can't be happening here. It seemed like I was in a dream. Then when I looked around and saw the girls around me were crying, we all kind of came together and hugged each other, and I knew we were all terrified.
Without mentioning the suspect, the shooter's name, do you have any idea who this individual was?
No, and right now I don't want to know. I just want to know that all my friends and everybody I care about are safe, and that we, a Arapahoe student body, can move past this. That's all I want to know right now.
And the teacher that this shooter was supposedly going after, did you know who the teacher was?
No, but I'm thankful that for his planning to get outside the school and get the shooter away, and I'm thankful that all the teachers at Arapahoe were so well prepared and saved all of us, basically, with their quick action.
We're showing our viewers the video pictures of the students as they were leaving. I assume you were one of them, with their hands up. Police came and said, everybody leave, but raise your hands. Is that what was going on?
I had not been out on that point. We were rushed out by the SWAT team, and we were told to run towards the other side of the street, and everybody just started running as fast as they could to get across the street at the buildings there. We were taken out fast.
How are your friends doing, Summer?
I've only heard from a few of them. From my school, they're all shaken up. Some of them are still waiting for their parents to come and get them. I know my friends from community, I've been getting tons of calls, and everybody's just joining together and trying to, get past this and be a community.
Summer, well, thank you so much for sharing. I know this must be an awful, very painful day for you. Good luck. Good luck to all the students at the Arapahoe High School and your families and friends as well. Our hearts go out to all of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to listen in. One of our affiliates, KDVR, is now speaking to another student.
Just, praying for your daughter? Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. After I'm here, I pray for everybody, I hope nothing happened. But I'm here, 2 people got shot. That's why I like to call her, make sure she's okay, something like that. Yeah. And then, I got the answer. Oh, thanks God, she's okay. Like that, yeah.
And Lee, you said you couldn't believe it hearing this again in Colorado.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it because, I thought this would be a safe area, very family, in Centennial. But I was very surprised, there was a shooting at this area, wow.
Were you glad to see your sister?
Yes, I'm very glad to see my sister.
And are you back together?
Okay.
Yeah. A little hug for us? Did you give her a hug yet?
Yeah.
Already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for talking.
All right, so there you have the reunion. That young girl is okay, obviously shaken, totally understandable. You're looking at these pictures of the Arapahoe High School in Colorado. Tom Foreman is with us watching what's going on. He used to live over there, Tom, so you know this area well.
Yeah, and we have some new news out of there, Wolf, right now. We are being told by Swedish Hospital, an excellent hospital not far from the high school there, that they are now treating 2 students who are both in good condition, and Littleton Adventist Hospital has the student that is in the most serious condition. At least that's what we understand now. So up until this point, listening to the sheriff, we thought there were only 2 students who were injured in any fashion. Now we're talking about 3.
2 injured, not that seriously, but 1 very serious.
1 quite seriously. We don't have any more about the condition right now, but there are 2 different hospitals there, not terribly far away, but that's the latest we know about that. And and this would be, again, as we've talked about, everybody being prepared there, Wolf, and the law enforcement and the school community, certainly the medical community there, too, having lived through Columbine. I will assure you there are police officers on the scene and medical experts who are dealing with this today, or at least in these institutions where these kids have been taken. There are people there who were there when Columbine happened in 1999 who had firsthand experience. So I'm sure they're on hand right now dealing with this and seeing what they can find out.
Yeah, so close. Sheriff Grayson Robinson also saying that the student who's in serious condition in surgery right now is a young girl. So we'll watch that, pray for her.
And he did note, too, I did want to point out in case anybody missed it there, he did note that the student who was shot at that point, he said there did not seem to be any sort of targeting. It was simply happenstance. That student happened to be where the gunman was. That's one of those details we always look at when we're looking for motive and what was actually happening.
And the sheriff says the gunman then shot himself and is dead right now. We're going to continue on top of this story. Another awful shooting at a high school in Colorado. Much more of our special report right after this.